Alright, what has been part of life for thousands of years, has shaped countless civilizations, and is still widely popular today? Beer. I'm an avid beer drinker and a self-proclaimed beer connoisseur. Plus, my dad owns a brewery up in Utah. The history of beer is as old as civilization itself, and has evolved over time to become a staple in many different cultures. So now let's take a dive into the history of beer and raise our glasses to those who brought this liquid gold into modern life. To start this journey, we'll travel back to the first civilizations of mankind. The recipe for beer is the oldest in the world, and the beverage itself is thought to be upwards of 10,000 years old. While the exact origins of beer is still unknown, it's widely believed that beer started somewhere in the modern-day Middle East, in the Fertile Crescent. Beer, over time, traveled into different civilizations. The Egyptian culture loved beer. They drunk it both for recreation and for its traditional values. According to the McFarland Brewery, many different people around the world drank beer instead of water because water is often contaminated. The Egyptians also sometimes paid their workers in beer, so you can thank beer for the Great Pyramids. But beer drinking today is a lot different than the ancient beer. According to VinePair, Babylonians drank their beer with a straw because it was thicker and often full of grain. So maybe not a lot of people liked beer. The Greeks and Romans preferred wine over beer, saying that wine is barbaric and a low-class beverage. This is still a negative stigma held today as the elites and intellectuals sip their grape juice from their high horse. Over time, beer made its way to Europe, where it has changed significantly. The Europeans were the first to add hops to their beer, the vital ingredient that gives modern beer its hoppy flavor, bitter taste, and great flavors. Surprisingly, monks were some of the most common brewmasters in the ancient world. Nearly every medieval monastery had a brewery in it. The Germans were some of the most influential people in towards the evolution of modern beer. Beer making became a craft, and the Germans prided themselves on making the best beer in the world. In the 16th century, a German beer purity law was passed. The law said that only 4 ingredients could be used in beer: water, barley, hops, and eventually yeast. 500 years later, this law is still in practice in Germany. Beer shaped a lot of early America. After landing much further north than originally planned, a pilgrim on the Mayflower said, quote, "We could not now take time for further search. Our victuals have been much spent, especially our beer." The barley that the Europeans took over to North America could not grow in the cold New England climate, so some of the first skills Native Americans taught the pilgrims were how to make beer with corn. In colonial America, whispers of revolution were passed throughout drinking taverns. Some of our founding fathers, like George Washington and Sam Adams, were actually brewers themselves. Our founding bros slammed some beers and the fight for independence began. When you really think about it, there's no way the Boston Tea Party was planned by some sober dudes. This may be why beer is so ingrained in modern culture today. In 1919, the 18th Amendment was ratified, and alcohol became illegal in the United States. During the 14-year Prohibition period, Americans had to rely on bootleggers and black markets for their buzz. In 1933, President Roosevelt signed the 21st Amendment, and alcohol was once again legal. But a lot of the pre-Prohibition breweries struggled to get back afoot, so beer slowly grew until the 1950s. Now try to imagine a Super Bowl without any beer commercials. Impossible, right? The ancient beverage is now so ingrained in our culture that we can hardly go a day without seeing or hearing the word beer. According to Time magazine, beer is America's favorite drink. In 2017, Americans spent over $100 billion on beer. Most of this comes from large macro breweries like Anheuser-Busch, the people who will give you Coors or Budweiser. However, the popularity of small local beer breweries is on the rise. There are now over 6,000 craft breweries in America, most of which have opened up within the last decade. With the expansion of craft breweries also comes the expansion of flavors and varieties of beer, making beer friendlier to those who may not like traditional flavors. There are now over 150 varieties of beer. So the ancient grainy beverage has turned into smooth porters, bitter IPAs, and chuggable lagers, just to name a few. So the next time you're drinking a beer, pour out a cold one for those ancient heroes who brought this golden beverage into modern day life and created the best drink humanity has ever consumed.